At the peak of AYER's career, tragedy strikes and he passes away. Do you remember getting the call he was no longer with us? And how do you find out?
Yeah, it was terrible. It was terrible. I had just seen him maybe like a week or two beforehand. We were all hanging out, Braille, AYER, myself, at a rave in Pomona, and talking about weird stuff and life and everything. And, you know, just don't think anything of it. You know, you see your homie at a party, a week or two passes, and I think it was my friend Peter's girlfriend that called me, because somebody had called him right before they called me. Right after that, a bunch of other people called me, and she called me. She's like, "Yo, Chaz died," and I'm like, "What? What?" Like she had to like repeat it 3 times, and I heard her crying, and I didn't believe it. You know, he was only 18. I was a year older than him, or 2 years older than him. You know, and he had already done so much and shined so hard. And I was like, it was in total disbelief. I was taken aback. I was in shock where I couldn't really react. I was like, okay, thank you, bye. And it took me like a few minutes to process even what was happening. And then other people started calling me, and then I broke down and started crying, like, oh fuck, like this can't have happened, you know? I was trying to get more information. No, everyone was just crying on the phone. They couldn't tell me shit. It was terrible. It was definitely a rough time for the crew. You know, I had been to a lot of funerals. Unfortunately, I'd been to some funerals before then, but that was the hardest funeral I had been to, because I saw all these people from my crew, all these people that I loved so much. And we wanted to look around and hug, but all we could do was just cry. Everybody just had waterfalls coming from their face. It was just my whole crew, everybody, all the family, all the friends, and it was terrible, you know. He was only 18. You know, he was a kid, and we had barely started our lives, and it was a really rough one on him. I remember it was an open casket, and I saw his you know, they'd put makeup on him, and the color was all off. It didn't look like him. And I just remember thinking, like, that ain't him. How the fuck is that him? I put a few fat caps in the casket for him, you know. I'm like, you know, take them with you. You're gonna need them. But it was shitty, man. It was hard. It was a hard day at the funeral. It was a hard few days before. It was a hard few days after. It definitely affected us a lot, you know.
As the whole crew, what was the KOG and LTS reaction to the news AYER had passed? Do you have a meeting to discuss it? Does everyone come together?
I think everybody, like, we were together at the funeral, and we were together at the wake. But I think a lot of us just kind of went, I mean, for myself, like, I wanted to grieve alone. I don't do good at funerals, and I don't do good at the group grieving, and I don't like to see all my people be sad. So like after seeing them at the funeral, I'm like, I just got to get away from y'all. Like for a little while, I had to step away a little, because I needed to just kind of find my bearings again and get grounded again. And being around other sad people that were all broken up wasn't going to help me do that.
AYER's name lives on 20 years after his passing. How would you like him to be remembered in graffiti history?
I mean, so for me, he was a friend and an inspiration. But as far as like his legacy, he should be remembered as the guy that changed graffiti. Before him, most stuff you saw on the freeways, most stuff you saw on buildings was just very simple. It was a straight letter, a 2-color fill. People weren't very pushing themselves to do the type of elevated work on the type of daredevil spots. Some guys went up to the daredevil spots and caught tags, maybe an outline. People did the elevated work at the yards. He was the first one to combine the two, take really refined, beautiful graffiti and put them in the most dangerous spots. So obviously he didn't do it alone. There was people around him that were kind of helping motivate him and all that. But to me, he was the force pushing it.